What's up, everybody? Happy weekend. Welcome to After the Bell. It is apparently Saturday. I woke up late. I think it's still Tuesday last week for all I know. I don't know what the hell day it is. But welcome to After the Bell. Again, this is a special bonus episode. We've been talking about it all week. Monday's episode was definitely labeled properly. It was a clusterfuck of an episode. We had featuring appearances by Dylan and by Jade and by Sasha Derevko and by his Honey Jack drink, and it was chaos, not the worker, and mayhem, not the website. So it was crazy. So I felt compelled. Well, JJ and I both felt compelled after, in the middle of taping that episode, we need to do one more this week. So we've got questions from the YouTube that we did not get to on Monday. We got questions from the fan page, which I never address, so I'm a bastard for doing that. And I don't think I have any Twitter questions. I think I actually got through the Twitter ones. Yay! But before I do the questions, we didn't have this to promote it on the show on Dad's on Thursday, but this is the book we're reading this month, and I can't believe I'm actually promoting something that Vince Russo wrote, but we are. Rope Opera, How WCW Killed Vince Russo. I have not opened it yet because I just now got it to show on display here for the show, but apparently it's Vince Russo's time in WCW only, or is it just his whole wrestling career?
It's WCW and TNA.
And TNA, but no WWF.
There's a little bit of WWF if I remember correctly, but the primary focus is how WCW just beat him to shit.
Right, okay. So there it is. It is, let's see, 250-something pages. It's not that much, and the print is not super small, so it's like you can get through it in a month. And I know y'all are intelligent. You can read. You're well-written, otherwise you couldn't type the questions to me in somewhat coherent grammar. And you guys can read this. If I can read a Vince Russo book, so can you. I don't know why the Uncle Sam thing just came in my head when I did that. Anyway, alright. Let's do my real job, my 9 to 5. Answer y'all's questions. The first one I didn't get to on the Monday catastrophe was from Acadia MLS. Is it just me, or is the WWE trying way too hard to push back something they can't prevent, which is seen as heel turn? Casa Teen Studios for Gangsky of the Week. You guys deserve your own category. Well, people have pointed out that we're trying to, ride the rider nuts as far as Broski of the Week and, Broskis of the Week or whatever. As long as y'all acknowledge that we are awesome, that's what counts. We don't need Zach telling us we're awesome because, Zach is Zach. Zach has his own YouTube identity that's been ripped from him by WWE anyway, because Z True Long Island Story is not the same show it was when it debuted a year ago, because WWE has adopted that for its own YouTube. It's not the same thing anymore. So if we are awesome in y'all's eyes, we will take our Mouseketeer of the Week award, because that's what I do when I get a good question. So anyway, is my hat handy if I need that?
Tis not.
Tis not. Okay, we will improvise if I have to. Okay. As far as your question, Acadia, I don't know if it is inevitable anymore, because we've been talking about John turning heel since, forever, and they still refuse to pull the trigger. It's not a matter of when it's going to happen, it's a matter of now if it's going to happen. And if it's going to happen, it needs to happen. But I don't know when it's going to happen now, because it should have happened after WrestleMania. It should have happened now with Brock Lesnar, getting the upper hand and Laurinaitis allowing it. Maybe this match with Laurinaitis will bring out the dark side. Because if we can bring out the dark side, it's Johnny Laurinaitis, that's for sure. Douchebag. Anyway. Ishida 1017. My question this time is, throughout the years there have been great factions or stables, but what faction do you think did the most for its members? For me, I would think it would be the Ministry of Darkness with the Brood. What do you guys think? The Kings for the next champs. We're doing good in the series. We're doing good. So we'll see how things progress here tomorrow. They have a game at noon, and I'll be there. So will JJ. Good times for all. The Ministry definitely did help certain members. I'm not sure if it helped the Brood necessarily, because the Brood was pretty friggin' awesome on their own before the Undertaker, signed them up and, recruited them. And they were pretty awesome after they left the Ministry, too. If any single entity was helped by the Ministry, it's Farouk and Bradshaw, the Hell's Henchmen, the APA. Those guys got over as a result of being with the Undertaker. And then when they left the Undertaker and became the APA, they just soared to new heights. those guys were helped. You look at Big Vis, Mabel, who was doing nothing for a good number of years, just basically, a filler guy, and the ministry warped his mind and turned him into Viscera, and he became a superstar again. A guy like Dennis Knight, who, was decent as Phineas Godwin, had done some other things, but, really never got that solo spotlight onto himself. And then when he became Midian, my goodness, for a while there he took off. He wasn't a world champion, he never was going to be. But before he became Naked Midian in that horrid time in history, Midian himself, the former European champion, the disciple of The Undertaker, the Undertaker's lead disciple for all intents and purposes, really, really caught on. And then, of course, The Undertaker was able to express a dark side we had not seen in a long, long time, darker than we'd ever seen him. That was amazing how he portrayed the devil incarnate. So, yes, the ministry did help. I'm not sure if they helped the Brood the most, though. Other factions, I mean, anytime you were a horseman, you got the rub, man. The Horseman was awesome. DX definitely helped the Outlaws. The Outlaws were very good on their own. There's no question about that. But being part of that DX army definitely pushed them to the moon. Same with Sean Waltman. He got the immediate push by coming back and joining DX after being in WCW for a year and a half. Hunter. Hunter. Being Shawn Michaels' best friend and being his lead charge. Got a huge push as a result of being the leader of DX. So, all the factions generally tend to help the individuals in the stable in their own way. It's just a matter of who gets helped the most, like you said. DX has helped. Horsemen definitely helped everybody they were involved with. Both his factions, Evolution. Orton and Batista got over because of Evolution, and because of Orton, DiBiase and Rhodes got over as Legacy. So, factions are designed to help people get over, and by God, if they work right, everybody gets helped. Everybody gets over. So, it's just amazing. Let's see. I scrolled. Why did I scroll here? Where did I go? There we go. JW Northstar 12. Jeff, how's it going? Love the channel. I recently got back into watching WCW, and I have a question. What's your all-time favorite Starrcade match, and why? For me, it would be either Sting Hogan from 97 or Flair Vader from 93, only because of the build-up these two matches had. By the way, go Kings. Favorite Starrcade match? My goodness. You look back at Starrcade, that was, 17 years of history. Probably Sting and Hogan, and that's a very cliche answer. That's the one you gave me, quite frankly. But, I was watching WCW more often than ever when I was watching in 97 and 96. And that Starrcade was the build that Eric Bischoff worked on for 16 months. He built Sting from September 96 being, Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky, blonde hair, Sgt. Pepper jackets, the whole thing, to this dark, mysterious character that didn't say a word for 16 months. And built that match. Did it execute properly? Oh, no. Did it work out great in the end? Oh, no. Was it a big buy rate, a huge draw, huge ticket sales and everything? Yes, no question about that. Was it successful? Yes, no question about that. The most successful WCW pay-per-view of all time. But did it help WCW in the long run? No, it did not. But it was a great Starrcade. From top to bottom. That was the height of the WCW and NWO feud. Everything just clicked on that night except for the main event finish. And at the end of the day, that's what counts. What do you think, Jay? Were you watching much WCW back in the day, or because I know you were an Attitude Era fan, and you came in rather late in the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can't really give one to that. I was always on Raw more than I was Nitro, or even Thunder for that matter. But Steen Hogan, from what I remember in my research and the build to that, definitely would be quite the contender to be argued. Yeah. Somewhat. Was the Hogan Piper the year earlier? Was that 96? Too?
That was hideous, though.
But the build for the big rematch, the two, wasn't the build just as good, if not as good?
I would say no, only because it didn't start until Halloween Havoc in October. Piper, Hogan just dominated Savage in that ridiculous match that those two should have never had in the first place. And Hogan came out with that hideous wig. You remember those pictures with the hideous blonde thing? That was that match with Savage. And Piper comes out and gives Hogan his big reality check, and Hogan's with jaws on the floor, and he's got the big boy. Piper's calling the giant Sprout. It's like, what? It only built for 2 months, and then it even says in the death of WCW, Piper got nominated for the dumbest babyface of the year because he made it a non-title match in his own contract. Piper said, Piper.
I retract my comment, ladies and gentlemen. Lord, I apologize for my stupidity there, and be it the pygmies down in New Guinea. Amen.
Yeah, Piper actually said he arranged the contract himself, and we were supposed to remember that, and then he signed it to be a non-title match. He beats Hogan with a sleeper and gives him win the title. You're an idiot, Rod. But yeah, Sting Hogan for me. Okay. And sorry to T for ragging on Roddy. That's my bad. But yeah, come on. I guess injuring his hip went to his brain. Mark Garaxio. I have two questions. First, in today's era of professional wrestling, who is the most responsible for developing star power and getting people over? Is it the wrestler, the writers, the bookers, or the fans? It is definitely a combination of all the above. It really always has been, truth be told. I mean, the wrestler is definitely in charge of his own destiny. The booker is definitely in charge of the wrestler's destiny. The fans ultimately tell you whether they love you or they hate you. I mean, there's no greater example, though, than guys like Hulk Hogan, who were forced in our throats for 10 years, and toward the end of his WWF run and his early WCW run, people were booing him. And he was the all-American, white meat babyface, real American, doing the thing, and, all that stuff. There's guys like John Cena. I was just getting to him. Give me a minute. I am going to rag on John, okay? God. John, who's, been, literally, freaking 4-star jaws open and just spewed down our throats for 6 years now. More than that now. And, people don't want to cheer him. As far as us guys, like, the 18 to 40 male. We don't want to cheer John Cena. I do, because he's a buddy. But, overall, the guys don't want to cheer John Cena. The kids do. The kids love him. The girls love him because he's cute. But, it's the same thing. But the fans are definitely responsible. The writers, I think people put too much emphasis on the writing teams, whether they are good or whether they are bad. I think the way the wrestler gets over at the end of the day is determined by his own inner stuff and the way he is booked overall, not just the way the writing team writes for that particular week. And definitely the fans do contribute to that. My second question is, well, if WWE and TNA are lacking a solid tag team division, if you were in charge of these companies, how would you go about building a substantial tag team, possibly give some suggestions for teams and champions? I am the wrong guy to ask this question, and I'll tell you why. And I will get to JJ because he has an answer in a second. I am not the biggest tag team wrestling fan. I haven't been for a while because I've been so just done with tag team wrestling in the mainstream wrestling, WWE and TNA both. Both companies at one point had arguably the greatest tag division in wrestling history at some point or another. And both companies now have just shit on their tag division, completely and thoroughly. So I am the wrong guy to ask about tag teams. For me, I would just end tag team wrestling in the mainstream. Let the indies do it, because the indies can do it. You got the King of Trios tournament, you've got DDT4 for PWG, you've got all these things that go very well with tag teams in the indies, but WWE and TNA just can't seem to frickin' do it right, and it sucks. Mr. Williams.
See our fantasy video.
There you go. Yeah. Because
that was my dynamite drop, and it's like,
okay.
You want to know what teams Jeff would want to sign, go see our fantasy video. I will post a link to it underneath with all the other links, our Twitters and Facebooks on this video.
Yes.
See our tag team divisions that we wanted to create. Silverheart Radicals, the Black Knights, Kings of Wrestling, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, Haas and Benjamin.
Mostly non-WWE and TNA tag teams.
Yeah.
Most of them. The Machine Guns are in there. But, yeah, teams like that. But, again, I'm the wrong guy to ask, because I'm just not a big tag guy anymore.
Like, if WWE invested their money in guys like that, they could have a well-established division again. Same for TNA.
Yep. Michael John Falsey, if for some freak accident Orton, Brock, Cena, Punk, and Jericho all got hurt or had to leave all at the same time for a few months, would WWE struggle to make good ratings for shows and pay-per-view with those guys gone? For the fact that they really don't push the likes of Ziggler and Truth, etc. If those 5 guys dropped off the face of the earth or got hurt at the same time, there'd be some serious shit problems.
Aren't we kind of in the midst of that right now? Triple H, broken arm. Brock Lesnar, suspended. John Cena, torn bicep. So all that leaves out of those 5 is Orton and Punk.
Well, we really don't know about Brock yet. There's nothing been announced on WWE TV yet. We don't know what's going to happen. Supposedly, that's the rumor that's going around. At least suspended.
But still, there's at least 2 of those 5 out, possibly 3.
Yeah. And John's obviously not out because they're having him work at the pay-per-view. And
the sad thing is this question was asked before that happened.
Yeah, I know.
So it's almost like he predicted it.
Yeah, it's your fault, dude. Michael John Fawzi is the reason for those injuries and those suspensions. Blame him, folks. I'm kidding, dude. I'm kidding. I'm going to get hate mail from that guy.
We do anyway.
I know. But, I don't count stuff from Northridge or Sacramento. I don't count that stuff. Or Valencia, my own hometown for that matter. Even they hate me out there now. Anyway. Another one from Michael. Lately on Raw, they've shown some clips of Brock destroying wrestlers that are all now in TNA. Angle, Jeff Hardy, Hogan, and Rob. Do you think this is a dig at those wrestlers? Of course it is! Well, they show that Extreme Rules, right? Or whatever that was, or the build to Extreme Rules. Most definitely it's a dig. Most definitely. There's no question about that. That's done by design. I'm surprised they didn't throw Angle. Oh, no, Angle too. They threw Angle in there too. Although they didn't show Brock botching his own head during the Angle match, of course, because they don't want to show that part. But definitely done by design. No question. Alright, these are from the fan page. So thank you all for subscribing and liking the fan page at Jeff Meacham fan page on Facebook. I will, JJ is the man behind the magic on that page because I've been really lax. Between doing this and now doing King's Booster Club stuff online and still doing Wild stuff, which we will have some stuff about Wild soon. I'm sure you all follow Wild on Twitter. If you do, you know what's going on. So we're going to right the wrong.
Plus Battleground, plus Massive.
Plus Battleground, plus Massive, plus whatever else we're doing. The fan page has not been a priority, and that's my bad. And I will make it not my bad soon. Starting with stuff like this. Okay. This is from Donnie Hartzell. Yo, Jeff, like the show. I started tuning in to you in the No DQ days, and I still tune into your show all the time. You and JJ are the shit. My question is, will the badass Billy Gunn ever be back in the WWE, and what are your thoughts on TNA Impact right now? I think I answered this already, if I remember right. Billy Gunn's doing very well. His name is Dolph Ziggler now. He wears, he's still wearing pink. He's still coming out, doing the whole blonde hair gimmick. He's managed by, somebody hotter than he was back then because he used to be Road Dogg. Now it's freaking Vicky Guerrero. He's moved up in the world. I don't know. I like Billy. I don't know if he'll ever be back. He should be hosting Are You Serious, Bro? Get rid of that idiot Josh Matthews. We've said that more than once, but they can't keep kayfabe on that show because Josh is supposed to be all beat up and battered from Brock, and he's still hosting the show. I didn't watch the show, so I don't know if he's in a sling or if he's all crippled up or whatever, but he should be if he is. And TNA right now, I judge it week to week. I always do, because some weeks it's really good, some weeks it's really bad. The most recent episode I watched with the Eric Bischoff send-off and the fight night was awesome. Good show, top to bottom. I've not watched since, so we'll see what TNA has in store for me this week when I watch. Scott Jarnigan, who in the wrestling business do you believe has gotten a raw deal, past or present? Owen Hart, for one. He got a big push and everything, but he never got the big prize, even after his whole family was basically forced out and he had to stay behind. And I think Owen's getting a raw deal now from his own widow, and that's harsh, maybe. That's the way I feel, because he's not allowed the true recognition he deserves by being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And he's been gone for 13 years this month. JD's not going to like this one, but Rick Rude, I thought, got a raw deal in both the WWF and WCW. Arguably one of the greatest guys to hold both of their secondary titles, the Intercontinental and U.S. Championship, and never got a run with the big one. Got a run on top with the guy holding the big one, Hogan, Warrior, Sting, but never actually got the shot. Those are my 2 picks for now. I'm sure there's more in my head, but there's a ton of questions still. Mike Douglas. He's still alive? Anyway. 1 year from now, give us 2 new World or WWE champions. Cody Rhodes, Wade Barrett. Cody Rhodes, Wade Barrett. Liam Fisher, what is your opinion on the Brodus Clay gimmick? Where do you see it going? He's definitely on a roll, isn't he? Yes, the Funkasaurus is on a roll. I often wonder if Ernest the Cat Miller sits there and goes, somebody called my mom. They stole my music, dog. Seriously. Then again, he's making Oscar-winning movies. He doesn't really have to give a shit anymore. Brodus, it's funny because it's supposed to be a punishment. And it got over like gangbusters. And he seems to be enjoying himself. You know, we talked to him at San Diego. He wasn't, you know, the happiest guy on the planet. But, you know, if he wasn't happy, he'd say something, I would imagine. And, you know, he'd get rid of it. Where do I see it going? As far as he wants it to go. You know, it's doing very well. Matthew Barter, what does it take to make it in the wrestling business? Closed mouth, open eyes, open ears. Simple as that. And people are going to say, you don't know about wrestling. I got accused of that this week on Twitter. But, you know, that's what I've learned. I'm not successful, but that's what I've learned.
And if I can add to those 3 things, a good school.
Definitely good schooling. Definitely good training.
Just like any kind of education. You want to have a successful career in any field, you go to the right school for what you want to do.
Definitely. Yep. I think I already have one from Donnie. Yep. Another one from Donnie Hartzell. Jeff, will WWE bring back the King of the Ring anytime soon? And who would win it? And will Kurt Angle ever come back to WWE? Kurt will come back to get the Hall of Fame induction. I don't think he'll come back to wrestle, but he'll come back. King of the Ring generally goes every 2 years. And this is the year. It'll be probably later on in the year. If it does come back this year, it'll be back. Because Sheamus was King of the Ring in 10, Regal was 8, and Booker was 6. And then before that, of course, it was Brock Lesnar in 02, and every year before that. So if King of the Ring does come back, look for it at the end of the year.
Who's going to win it?
Who's going to win it? I'll have to wait and see who makes it through spring cleaning and call it from FCW first, honestly, because, you know, it could be a whole new roster in a couple weeks' time. So we'll see. Justin Smith. Hey, Jeff, been a fan of the show for a while. I love Brock Lesnar. I mean, no disrespect toward him as a professional, but I was wondering your thoughts on how long will Brock truly last in WWE. We know his history of early departures. I don't want to be a doubting Thomas on Brock's future, but his presence in WWE seems too good to be true. Yeah, Brock, I mean, we talked about it a little while ago. The rumor is he's been suspended for like 3 months, I'm hearing, or something, without compensation. He needs to calm his silly ass down. That's just long and short of it right there. He needs to calm down and adapt to where he is again. He needs to not be so crazy. If he gets himself a clear head and a decent frame of mind, he should be okay. Because Brock is awesome. I'm not going to take anything away from Brock Lesnar. He's a great athlete. He's a former NCAA champion, a former UFC champion, former WWE champion. He can do it. He just needs to get himself on track and not be such a crazy guy. You know, storyline or not, he's out of control. And more, he's out of control out of the storyline. We saw it. We saw it at Extreme Rules. We saw it when he came back. We saw it on Raw. You know, people are going to say, oh, he didn't break, but yes, he did break Hunter's arm. He's out of control, and he needs to get back in control if he's going to be successful in WWE. McMurray. Alright, I know he wasn't the best wrestler in the world, but do you think there will ever be a Shane McMahon DVD? He did some crazy bumps in his matches and has been involved in a lot of storylines, so there has to be good TV potential, right? Maybe not Shane, just Shane. But maybe a McMahon legacy. Because we had Vince's DVD, and that was basically just Vince. We didn't get anything about Jess or Vince Sr. or Linda, Shane, or Stephanie, or, you know, Hunter's involvement, or Marissa, Shane's wife, or anything like that. A McMahon Legacy family DVD would be a great I'd buy it. I'd go and buy it right now if I had the $20. If they had, I'd buy the Edge DVD if I had the $20. It was the best part of the day. Anyway, I'd like to see a McMahon family DVD, not just Shane. That'd be cool. That'd be awesome for me. All right, last one. Sean McDonald. Jeff, the other week on SmackDown when Jimmy Hart was managing Heath Slater, I was thinking it would really work and help Heath out even though he lost. I think Jimmy Hart would really help some young guys out as a manager. What do you think, and who do you think would help the young guys as a manager? I've said this more than once on almost every show I've ever done in the last 10 years. I think the era of the full-time, successful, every show manager is out in wrestling, in WWE and TNA. Managers don't always have, there are certain guys that manage one or two guys all the time, but full-time managers just don't seem to be, the thing anymore. And Jimmy Hart coming back it was the Legends Night or whatever, and he managed Heath Slater, and it was funny. But I don't think Jimmy has a desire to go out on the road again full time. I really don't, and I don't think any of the true successful managers of back in the day are all well past their prime. They don't want to be on the road, 200 days a year. They don't want to do that shit anymore. So I don't think, and there's not really any huge names right now that are out there. I don't think personally, and this is just me. I don't think a manager would be the right thing for anybody in a current WWE or TNA environment. Thank you all very much for all the questions from the fan page, from the YouTube, from the Facebook inbox, everything. You guys are awesome. Tomorrow, tentatively, is the plan for the Avengers movie review, courtesy of Mr. Statboy himself, Mike Caldwell, with maybe a jump in by JJ on that show. We'll see who's on that show. We'll see if I'm not sure. I haven't seen the movie. If I see the movie, I'll go ahead and throw it out there. One more time, the book of the month for May. I need to put the event page up. I forgot about that the other time. Is Vince Russo Rope Opera? How WCW killed Vince Russo. Look for this cover out there. It's Russo and Sting and Mick Foley. It looks like a Lockdown background from when they had their match at Lockdown. Copyright. Copyright 2010. It's only 2 years old. It's supposed to be a good read. JJ liked it. JJ is not a huge Russo guy himself. So, go for it. Read it. Give us your review on it at the end of the month. I'll give mine. JJ will give his. And for the Constantine Studios channel, this is Jeff Meacham saying we will see you next time on After the Bell.